Hello everyone and welcome to Prof. Dan Tutorials. Today's section is going to be on adjustment of status. If you check the playlist, there is one that is for adjustment of status, and there are two videos there presently. The first video talks about the general overview of this adjustment of status, taking note of what you should know and the things that are required of you and things like that. Then I think the second video was a filling guide on how to fill the form I-485. So during the process of adjusting your status, the main form is the form I-485, adjustment of status. But alongside that, there are other things, other forms that can be added. One of them is the medical examination, which is form I-693. Now, take note that some people, during the adjustment of their status, they do not submit this medical record. Some do it later on. My own advice is that while you are doing your adjustment of status, try as much as possible to ensure you've done your medicals as well. This process will hasten or perhaps prevent you from receiving RFE, request for evidence. You want to prevent things like that because time might not be on your side. So today's video, I will share something so important with you, with people's experiences, based on people I've also interviewed that have gone through this process, and I believe that you will learn one or two things from it. So stay tuned. When people have passed through a stage and perhaps they made mistakes, to me, I feel people that are coming later on that want to pass through the same stage should not make such mistakes. So you have the opportunity to hear people's mistakes and prevent yourself from making such. So that's one thing that this video is all about. So again, for some of you who have been approved of, say, for example, the EB2 NIW or the EB1A category or any other categories, you've received approval and you've gotten to the stage of adjusting your status, then this video is for you. There are some of you also that have been approved, but it has not gotten to your stage. You are still on the queue because your priority date is yet to meet the date for filing, right? So you can also take this as a form of tutorials to prepare yourself on what is going to be ahead. Mind you, anyone can go ahead and do this medical examination at this stage, whether you've been approved and still waiting on the queue or it's already your turn to adjust your status. You can do it. Why? One thing is that it is valid for 2 years. So if you have the assurance that it will get to your turn to adjust your status within 2 years, then you can go ahead and do the medicals and know that it's already there. So from the day the civil surgeon signed your medicals, from that date, it's valid for 2 years. You can use it within that timeline. So let's get started. Again, Form I-693 is the report of immigration medical examination and vaccination record. This form is also available online for free. I will drop the link in the description section of this video. So you can download the documents, have access to it, and see what it entails. Some of the things there you might not really understand, but that's the essence of this video. Another thing you should take note of is that this form, unlike your I-140, for those of you that feel that, and I-485 adjustment of status that you filled by yourself, for those that did self-petitioning, for the I-693, the medical examination form, you do not necessarily feel the whole thing by yourself. So take note of that. It is the approved civil surgeon that will do the filling, and it must be in a sealed envelope after your whole medical examination have been recorded into that form. It will be in a sealed envelope stamped by the civil surgeon and handed over to you. This sealed envelope, which is confidential and contains your medical record, basically the form I-693 that has been signed by the civil surgeon, must not be opened. You do not open it. As it is given to you and sealed, is the same way you will put it in your package of your form I-485 that you want to submit. So please take note of that. Now, one thing that is important is that when you want to do this medical examination, you need to make an appointment with an approved, a designated USCIS civil surgeon. And again, I'll put the link in the chat. From this official link, you can search for a civil surgeon within your vicinity by putting in your zip code, right? And you can even choose if you want a male or a female civil surgeon. So when you do that, you will see lists of civil surgeons and perhaps their company or the state health center they work for, things like that. Then you can decide to book an appointment with them. Take notes, for those that are pressed with time, based on people experiences, I will advise you that you consider a registered civil surgeon who is able to attend to you on time. For some of these civil surgeons that are working in the federal state health company, appointment time could take as long as 2 months before you're able to book an appointment with them. And some of you who already are registered with some of these hospitals and you want to insist in doing your examination with such hospital, it might take as long as 2 months to book such an appointment. Although some would argue that that saved them money they would have, paying more money, it saves them. However, you need to check between the money you will pay and the timeline to get your appointment. So what can you do? What some have done is to look for a private civil surgeon who is also registered and are able to book an early appointment. Within 1 week, they get their appointment and they're able to get their medical examination. The fee for this form I-693, your medical examination record, for USCIS is free. You are not making any payment for the form I-693, I beg your pardon. For the form I-693 medical examination, you are not making any payments to USCIS. Recall that for form I-140, for form I-485, adjustment of status, for form I-907, those of you that did premium service, you make payments by maybe credit card, money order, or cashier check to USCIS. But for the form I-693, you are not making any payment to USCIS. The payment will be made to the civil surgeon whom you made an appointment with to carry out your medical examination. So this fee, as a result of that, varies. Some will tell you that it's between $200 to $500 for those that reside in the United States. So it all depends. So take note of that. Now, when you have been able to book your appointment, what are the necessary things you need to go with to the civil surgeon? Your means of identification, which should be taken note of. It could be if you have a driver's license or you have a passport, international passport, things like that, you can go with that as a means of identification, government ID, because the civil surgeon will have to look at that, and we also take note of that in the form I-693, your means of identification. So in preparing yourself for these appointments, some other things that can help you are one of the things I'm going to be telling you now, which can help you to fast track everything. So before I continue, I know it looks like I'm talking a lot, but I'm passing out information as far as I can recall from people's experiences so that it can help you, or those of you that will soon get to that phase, or those of you that are considering doing that phase now. Now, this form comprises of your medical examination and your vaccination record. Now, let me quickly talk about the vaccination record, which I will come back to later towards the end of this video. Some of you from respective countries of origin, Middle East, Europe, Africa, you've had some vaccinations before. If you have those records, bring them along with you to the appointments, because for such records you already have, the civil surgeon will look at those records, and if they are valid, he will take note of those records on your form I-693. So you wouldn't have to take those vaccines shot again. So if you have any of such records from your home country, go along with it. And towards the end, I will tell you some of these vaccines, which is also available on the form. So the question now would be that, do you need to print the form and take it to the civil surgeon? No, you don't have to, because this civil surgeon, it is their work. They are registered with USCIS. They know the process, right? So they have the form. So when you go there, they will print out the form and give you to fill your own parts, because in the part 1 is about the individual who wants to do the medical examination. The part 1 has things like your name, your physical address, your sex, your date of birth, your country of origin, and those of you that already have an alien registration number. These are some of the things that you will fill, that the civil surgeon will give the form to you to complete. It also has your telephone number and your email address. And the civil surgeon, in his presence, will ask you to append your signature and the dates. So don't do this before going to the civil surgeon. That's the instruction, the procedure, ideally. Now, the next thing will now be, that's just it. You are only going to fill the part 1, right? The remaining part, ideally, is for the civil surgeon to fill out. And it contains, for example, we have part 4 that has the preparer's full name. And that's going to be the civil surgeon, the preparer's contact details, dates of signature, and the signature of the preparer, in this case, the civil surgeon. Part 5 talks about the applicant identification information. So the information you've given to the civil surgeon, for example, if it's driver's license, the civil surgeon will fill it in, and the document identification number. So across the whole form, which is 14 pages, something seems to be common: the family name, the given name, the middle name, and the A number of the applicants. So all this will be filled out. Before I continue, let me tell you something very important. The story of someone. Anyone can make a mistake. And as they say, nobody is above mistake. So one gist I'm going to give you is that even the medical doctor who is a designated civil surgeon, is prone to making a mistake. Now, one advice, key advice, is that remember that this form will be filled out and sealed, given to you in a sealed envelope, and you cannot open it. If you open it, USCIS will reject your application, but it is your responsibility to submit it. It's not the civil surgeon that will submit it to USCIS. The civil surgeon will carry out the examination, complete the form, put it in a sealed envelope, and hand it over to you. It is now you that will include it in your own submission. So now, back to what I was trying to say, and one thing you can do is that even at that, request for your own personal copy from the civil surgeon. When you request for your own personal copy, which is just for you, but mind you, you can use that copy elsewhere. But why do you have to request for it? It's just for you to take a look through it to be sure that there is no mistake on the part of the civil surgeon. So there is someone who applied for his own adjustment of status, not through an employment-based EB-2NIW or EB-1A, it was through marriage. But the form that the civil surgeon filled was a previous edition. And when this applicant submitted, there is a new latest edition, but perhaps the civil surgeon was not aware as of that time, was not updated. Because it was a previous edition that was used, after about 2 months, USCIS has returned this applicant's application because of that singular mistake. So in your own part, if you had requested for a personal copy and you have glanced through it, you should have been able to identify and see if, oh, it's a previous edition that this civil surgeon is using, and so draw the civil surgeon's attention to it. So that's the essence of having or requesting for your own personal copy. Beyond that, you don't need that copy for any other thing. You can't use the copy, you can't submit that personal copy since it is not sealed by the civil surgeon. So please take note of that. That's very vital. So up until other parts, like we have part 6. So in part 6, summary of medical examination, the civil surgeon will, ideally, when you get to the civil surgeon, and for those of you that already have an existing vaccination record, he will show it to the civil surgeon. The civil surgeon must be able to interpret and understand your vaccination record. And based on that, the civil surgeon will make judgment as to which of the vaccinations you have fulfilled that USCIS wants, and which ones you haven't fulfilled. The civil surgeon will make recommendations to you that, oh, you need to go and get this particular vaccination. 2, 3, it could be 1. It could be a booster, things like that. I'm still going to get to that part as well to explain more important things. So aside the vaccination record, which ideally people have such record and you need to take it to the civil surgeon, there will also be a physical examination. The civil surgeon will conduct a physical examination to check 1 or 2 things, and there will also be lab examination. So ideally, the civil surgeon will ask you to go to the lab or refer you to the lab. Some of them have a lab they already have a memorandum of understanding with some labs, and so they just direct you straight to such lab, and you go there and they take your blood sample, which you don't have to book appointment or queue. But again, some will tell you to go do it at any designated hospital as well. So choose wisely. If you are direct referred to an existing lab that has a relationship with the civil surgeon. That might be that might make things faster because they already have an existing direct communication. So your lab results, from some people's experience, were not given to them by hand directly. Since there is an existing memorandum of understanding between the civil surgeon and that lab, the result might be sent directly to the civil surgeon. So when the civil surgeon receives your lab results, of course, there are certain things they are looking for, and they will fill that in part 8, which is the civil surgeon worksheet. Some of the things includes tuberculosis. They check for tuberculosis, quantiferon. They will fill the date the blood sample was drawn, and the results, if it's negative or positive or indeterminate. Now, another person's experience is that the person's result was positive for this tuberculosis quantiferon. When it is positive, your civil surgeon will suggest to you or recommend that you do something else. And they are following procedure. It's not their fault. It's what is ideal. So ensure you pass through and do the ideal thing so that USCIS doesn't give you an RFE. So, for example, for someone that was positive, such person, I remember she said she had to do a chest X-ray. So that's another test again. Had to do a chest X-ray, and from the chest X-ray, the result again will be sent to the civil surgeon, and they could see if is normal or not. And that's the part 8, number 3, for those that will do chest X-ray. Again, I'm reading from the official form I-693, which is the form the civil surgeon will fill and sealed and give to you, page 6 of 14. When we look at page 7 of 14, there are other things that, based on your lab results, the civil surgeon will fill in. And then we go to, of course, they also look for drug abuse or drug addiction. So all these things really matters a lot. Gonorrhea, and what again? Yeah, there are a couple of things like that. So finally, to the vaccination record. So like I said in the very beginning, many of you have some vaccination record here in the US or outside your country. Outside the US, in your own country. If you have those records, print them out and tender it to the civil surgeon, who will make the judgment. And some of the vaccines are listed on page 12 or 14 of Form I-693. And they include, there are specifically 6 important ones. Not all the vaccines listed on this form. There are 6 particular ones. Tdap, which is the tetanus, diphtheria, and pertussis. The MMR, the measles, mumps, and rubella. And there is the hepatitis B, varicella, influenza, and of course, the COVID-19. So the good thing is that if you have taken some of these vaccines before, and now you are aware, just go get the records. And when you tender it to the civil surgeon, that means you don't have to go ahead and go get some vaccines shot again. However, take note also that if the result of your vaccine record is already more than 10 years, it might be advisable to take booster or take new ones. Just be careful about that. And again, follow the advice of your designated civil surgeon. And they will record all these vaccination record on page 12 or 14, the dates they are taking, and they're also going to tick some boxes. I think it's only the MMR that it has to be taken 3 different times at 3 different intervals. And COVID-19, you need 2 shots, things like that. So if you don't have all of these, you have to take them. There is no other way around it. And for those of you that reside in the United States, There are places you can go get some of this vaccine. For example, CVS, Walgreens, and the likes. So get some of these vaccines. So again, if you are preparing for your adjustment of status, now you know this some of these vaccines. You can get them and have them in your record so that when you get to the right time, you know you've already passed that stage. Overall, the necessary vaccines you need to take, your civil surgeon will tell you to go ahead and take them. And when you take them, when you take the shots, you bring the records to him or her, the civil surgeon, and they will take note of that on your form I-693. Again, one of the reasons why I told you all that you should ask for a copy, your own copy from the civil surgeon, so that you can see what they've given to you in a sealed envelope, which you will send to USCIS. Another person shared his experience with me. Guess what? In the vaccination record session, especially for MMR vaccine, this person took one in 2014, another one in 2021, and another one in 2023. But guess what? The civil surgeon made a mistake for the third shot and wrote October 3rd, 2024, which was a date ahead. So this person told me that because he requested for a copy of his, he saw this error and reached out to the civil surgeon. And the civil surgeon said, well, there is no problem. It doesn't mean they will understand. So the choice is yours if you feel USCIS will understand, or to avoid that, why not go ahead, like this person said, he went ahead to the civil surgeon and said, no, just change that page. So there was a 2 days delayed, went back there, the civil surgeon changed it and gave him a new sealed envelope of his medical result from I-693. Now, who knows? You don't want to assume that singular error or mistake could cost him an additional month. Maybe after 2 months, they request for RFE, like the first person, the experience I shared with you, right? So prevent all possible errors that can take place. So in summary, take note that when you are doing your adjustment of status, which is the form I-485, ensure you do your medicals and submit it at the same time. It will save you time. And get a designated civil surgeon, get your appointment on time, pay the $200, $300, $400, or $500 to a private registered civil surgeon in order to do it on time, rather than waiting for 2 months of appointment. And cross-check everything, request for your own copy, just for the sake of checking out if there is a mistake or not. Ensure it is the latest edition, and ensure that the form that the civil surgeon prints out for you has the barcode, the edition, and the page number show at the bottom of the form. So these are a couple of things you want to check out for in order to prevent unnecessary mistake. And so when you submit all of this, your adjustment of status has started. And there will be other things that will take place, which I will share with you in some other videos. I think in some of our upcoming videos, just as we've been looking at success stories of persons who have been approved for their EB2NIW and EB1A, I will also bring in some of these folks to speak to you their experience about the adjustment of status up until the stage they got their green card. All right, I hope it's been informative enough. If you pay attention, you will grab 1 or 2 things. Overall, this is an educating material or video, so to say. So feel free to learn from it, choose the one that applies to you. disregard the one you want to. And overall, it's all for educative purpose, just to assist you on your green card journey. Wishing you all the best. Most viewers enjoying videos, sharing with people, but if not subscribed, please do so. Support Prof. Dan tutorials. That aside, you know, you have a latest updates of things that are coming up, or videos, upcoming videos. So wishing you all the best. In our next video, we most likely will continue with the other series. You know, we also started the EB1A workshop for those that want to self-petition and do it by themselves. We'll continue with that. If you can check out the assistance series for those of you considering that route. And for the EB29W, those of you that also want to self-petition, there is an assistance 17 episodes that can help you from the start to the end, and you will do it by yourself. And of course, hopefully you get approval. Overall, making the whole process simple, easy, and have confidence to do it by yourself. Thumbs up, wishing you all the best, and see you again. Bye-bye.